Welcome back, everyone. This is Madman, and this is Operation Gunnerside, the Round 6 recap. Playing the European Axis is the Chaplain. Playing Japan is Hammer Time. Playing Russia, Commonwealth, and France is Panzer J. Patton. And playing US, China, and UK is myself, Madman. So, this was another action-packed round. Not as action-packed as the previous two rounds, where we saw some very significant battles that changed the Eastern Front, but there was a lot of significant positioning in this round. So I'll go over that in a second, but here is what the victory point situation looks like. The Axis are at 8 victory points, but a lot of these victory points were snagged away at the very end by the Allies so far. So Japan was very close to the Imperial point. They had China at one point, and the Axis also had World Oil 4 out of 10. I think they had Manila too. I'd have to go back and see for sure, but they did have Manila at one point. So they lost 4 of them in that turn. The most notable is that Cairo is still in Allied hands, but not for long. And here's what the tracker is looking like. Japan was hovering around 50, and they went back down after UK's turn. And yeah, that's what it's looking like. So let's go over a few things here. Over in the European theater, Germany on its turn 6 used almost the entire Luftwaffe to knock out a big pocket of Russian forces in the Baltic states in eastern Poland, and they successfully did that, but did not take the territories, and they lost about, I think it was 4 aircraft on that round. So as a result, they built a lot of ground units, 3 tanks and a lot of infantry. Italy funneled some units using the railing system, 2 infantry into Romania, 2 infantry into Western Ukraine, and 4 into Poland. So it looks like he's trying to stave off the Russians from going into Europe. That's what it looks like so far. Italy is hunkering down because the Allied fleet is back in the Mediterranean again. Not many transports, but he's thinking maybe they're going to convoy the heck out of Rome and make it hard for him to purchase anything. So he went crazy and bought a ton of infantry. So both northern Italy and southern Italy have about 12 to 13 infantry apiece. So the Western Front is looking like this. Just 6 infantry in Paris with some AAA guns. So very different from the previous few turns. Norway is still in Russian hands, as well as Finland. Russia snapped back, though, at Germany. Germany had used its forces in Ukraine, which is the last vestiges of their Eastern Front, and had taken Rostov and Bryansk. And then Russia counterattacked and took out those forces. So this is all. There are no German land units in Russia right now. Just some Italians in Western Ukraine. Well, I guess you can count the AAA as a land unit. Yeah, and then Russia built a combination of infantry and artillery just to replenish its forces. Won a fighter in Lend-Lease. It's pretty interesting. Let's see what else. Yep, as I mentioned, the Allied fleet moved into the Med. Commonwealth takes Brazil and wins 4 guys in return. American transports moved back up this way. British transports, which offloaded the previous turn into French Equatorial Africa, moved down to South Africa. They built a tactical infantry and artillery in Belgian Congo, and all 3 Allied powers UK moved its forces from Ethiopia and French Equatorial Africa into Sudan. America moved its forces into Sudan. Both moved part of their air forces down here. Bomber transport landed here, and Commonwealth took Cairo. Now at this point we are still waiting for Panzer J to upload his turn, so we don't have all the details on what went into Cairo, but all we know is that Cairo did fall. So I was wrong over here, giving you wrong information. So actually the Axis are at 7 victory points, so Cairo did fall on Commonwealth's turn. Apologies. So yes, this is back in Allied hands. Like I said before, I don't know how many ground units of Commonwealths are in here, but we do know that Cairo fell. So what else? Yep, there's the Allied fleet over there. And the United States only built 2 infantry in East U.S. and then 2 ground units in Central U.S. So an obvious Pacific push for the U.S. So Over here in the Middle East, though, Italy went wild again, took northwest Iran and eastern Iran away from the Commonwealth. So they're either going to be making a push against Calcutta or Caucasus, or possibly even Stalingrad. And an Italian fleet is still in the Indian Ocean. They sent a sub to try and knock out the French destroyer and failed, and the French destroyer killed it. But the Italians sent their sub from 98 through the Suez Canal to regroup. So he's essentially got the same navy going on right there. Over in the Pacific, Japan did have all of China at the end of its round, but no longer does, because UK had all of its ground forces here in Yan'an and just did a shotgun blast. Took out all these territories that were wide open. China was able to spawn one guy down here in Yan'an. The Russians had sent one guy into Kanzu, but then Japan took it back, and then the Russians sent more guys to Tunguska, so there's going to be a little bit of pushback there. Japan, needing more transports, built 2 more transports out of its factories here, and 2 more strategic bombers, which are heavy bombers. Most of its air force is down in French Indochina now, and he built also an air base so he can scramble and protect that fleet. The Allies, in response, the U.S. moved its entire fleet down here to Northern Territory, where Commonwealth built a naval port, so now they can move 3 spaces. The U.S. fleet that was in Hawaiian Islands moved down to Queensland. And then we have 3 blocking Allied ships here in 37, because looks like he was trying to make his way over to Burma and maybe do a late game Calcutta crush. So the Allied units are blocking that from happening because he only has 7 warships here, and each ship blocks 3 warships. So what else? UK builds a few more naval units here. I think just a destroyer and a sub. Commonwealth fighters come from Celebes all the way to India, so they're safe there. And some of these Commonwealth naval units are not up to date, just because we don't know what Panzer J did with those yet. We don't have his purchases down. The only thing we know is that he purchased a naval base in Northern Territory. So this destroyer might be somewhere else as well. I'm guessing it's in Queensland. I doubt he kept it there. The U.S. did something strange and built a complex in Alaska and a few more transports over here in West U.S. So there's going to be some action up in the Northern Pacific, it looks like. So yeah, this was round 6. A lot of key positioning. Most notable actions of this round was the Italian actions in the Middle East and the Italian fleet remaining in C-Zone 80. The U.S.-UK French fleet coming back into the Mediterranean, and then the South Pacific positioning between Japan and the Allies. I'd have to say this has been a big naval turn, I'd have to say. So round 7 is going to be, there's going to be a lot of haymakers being thrown around, and this is going to be where it gets really interesting. So the Axis really have to come up with some points. A lot of them are in play still, like World Oil 4, China, Manila, Southeast Asia. Those are all in play. Resources, Pacific Islands, there's a lot of them in play still. So this is going to be where the fireworks start. So stay tuned for round 7 with Chaplin as Germany. Take care.